In today's episode, let's read about incense in Greece from the Complete Incense book by Suzanne Fisher-Rizzi. Namaste everyone and welcome to Om Incense Show with DJ, a show that helps you increase your incense quotient. So if you are an incense enthusiast, consider subscribing. And before we go ahead, I'd just like to tell you that you might want to treat this episode as a podcast. So grab your favorite beverage or your snacks and relax while I give you company. And this might get a bit long because I want to cover as much of the things of importance that there is in this chapter. And I'll be also sharing a Greek incense recipe which is supposed to boost your self-healing powers. So I just thought that would be an important thing to read in the current situation of the pandemic. So having said that, let's get ahead, and I'm reading a chapter. This is chapter number 6 on page 100 called Greece, about the science of fragrances. So it says, fragrances from the East. Long before the Greeks took over the elegant and highly developed tradition of burning incense, the Egyptians, Phoenicians, Sumerians, and Hebrews had been enamored of the fragrance of frankincense, myrrh, opoponax, and other precious resins. The Greeks were eager to embrace the fragrances that came from Asia. We believe that it was the Phoenicians who imported frankincense and myrrh to Greece. It appears that during the time of Homer, around 750 BC, frankincense was not yet known in Greece. Nowhere in his writings does Homer mention this substance. In the early Greek period, people burned animals as a sacrifice to the gods. To cover the awful smell of burning flesh, they added pleasant aromatic woods such as cedar, juniper, and myrrh to the fire. They also used sulfur as an incense-burning substance during those times. It was Herodotus who first described frankincense. Arabia is the only country where frankincense grows. The Arabs burn storax as incense instead, because frankincense trees protect the winged serpents. This is what he said about frankincense. It appears that Herodotus believed those horror stories spread by the owners of incense trees in Arabia and by Phoenician merchants. The location where the frankincense trees grew was a well-kept secret during the time of Herodotus. The Greeks were eager to adapt foreign traditions, ideologies, and cults. From the very beginning, Greek culture was influenced by belief systems and lifestyles of the East. Philosophers satisfied their thirst for knowledge by traveling to the Far East or Egypt. For instance, Apollonius of Tyana went as far as India's borders at the end of the 1st century AD. Pythagoras studied with Egyptian priests, and Plato tells us about the cultural exchanges that took place between Egypt and Crete. For the Greeks, the island of Crete served as a connection to the East. Imported Asian incense burning substances became very popular in Greece. They used a great number of different fragrance substances for incense burning, as perfumes, and for medicinal purposes. Incense burning played an important role in worship as well as in daily life, as depicted in images engraved on numerous antique vases. The ancient Greeks burnt incense in so-called thymatiron, adapted from the Minoans. Flute players often accompanied incense burning ceremonies. Frequently, the vessel had an engraved image of the goddess Nike. One of the vases, now in British Museum, has a description of the preparation for the Dionysian festival. In the center of the vase sits the god Dionysus, surrounded by satyrs and women figures. One woman stands in front of a large incense-burning vessel in which a small fire is burning. She holds a bowl filled with round objects in her left hand. With her right hand, she is letting a frankincense seed fall into the bowl. Then it goes on to say about the philosophy of fragrance, Alexander's gift of fragrance, fragrant incense burning for every day and for the gods. So let's read this paragraph. It says, Alexander gave the very special gift of fragrance to his fellow student Theophrastus of Athens. This friend received seeds and cuttings from fragrant plants of the East. It was he who created the first botanical garden in Europe. The ancient Greeks used elegant fragrances to celebrate Alexander's triumphs after his campaigns. Incense burning ceremonies using precious substances became a favored activity for the well-to-do. They burned incense as sacrifice on altars and during celebrations, feasts, rituals, and wedding festivities. But they also used it simply to create a pleasant aroma indoors and to keep insects out. They fumigated their homes, suspending their clothes in the fragrant smoke. Some incense burning ceremonies were specifically dedicated to the gods. Fragrances were burned for the gods in flat bowls made of iron, bronze, and even gold. The Ophidians, who abhorred bloody sacrifices, used many incense substances in their rituals. They considered Orpheus the father of prophecy and the founder of all blessings and mysteries. Therefore, they dedicated frankincense and the practice of incense burning to him. The Pythagoreans, another group that refused animal sacrifices, also preferred fragrant plant substances for sacrifices and prayer rituals. For them, incense burning was the only means by which they could get in touch with the gods. They also connected frankincense with their belief in rebirth. The famous Eleusinian mysteries, celebrated in honor of the goddess Demeter, included initiation rituals and rites of passage that made use of specific incense burning substances. That was the paragraph on fragrant incense burning for every day and for the gods. The other paragraph we have is astrology and fragrances. Greek incense burning for medicinal purposes, healing power of temple sleep, prophecies of the Pythia, fragrances that connect us to the cosmos, practice with astrological incense burning substances, the elements, incense burning mixtures for planets and astrological signs. This actually is quite interesting. We have the various sun signs mentioned here, and we have quite a few incense ingredients that are related to each sign. So let's just read about Aries. So it says thyme, coriander, cinnamon, laurel, red sandalwood, cedar, scotch pine, tarragon, cardamom, galangal, ginger, clove, aloe, calamus, patchouli, masterwort, angelica root, benzoin, dragon's blood, verbena. Aries mixtures are powerful and fiery. They strengthen boldness, assertiveness, and courage. So in the similar manner, they have this kind of description for all of these sun signs. And effective incense burning substances from ancient Greece. Here we have a mention of 5 incense ingredients. So we have laurel, iris root, myrrh, amber, and frankincense. If you'd like me to read more about all the sun signs and their incense ingredients, let me know in the comment section, and I'll do a reading on the same sometime later. Then let's read about the incense recipes. So we have, so instead of one, I think I'll be giving here 2 recipes. So it says recipes for Greek incense burning. One is Greek temple frankincense. So the recipe states frankincense 2 parts, myrrh 1 part, cedar 1 part, amber 1/4 part. Then it goes on to say, you may substitute larch or pinyon raisin for amber. Crush the frankincense and myrrh with a mortar and pestle. Pulverize the amber separately. Add the cedar shavings. Mix everything together well. This so-called temple incense burning recipe creates an atmosphere of devotion, dignity, and peace. It works well for praying and meditating. It is very calming and relaxing, particularly at times of severe nervous exhaustion and spastic convulsions. It has a balsam-like warm fragrance. Then there's this recipe which I specifically wanted to read out today. It says Chiron or Chiron. So it says Chiron. So that's what we have. The recipe says iris root 1 part, myrtle leaves 1 part, mastic 4 parts, strings of saffron 1/2 part, sage 1 part. The description says pulverize the dried iris root. Break the mastic into small pieces with a mortar and pestle. Crush the myrtle and sage between your hands. Mix these and add the strings of saffron. This is a mixture whose fragrance supports healing. In times of inner conflict and vulnerability, emotional pain and grief, this mixture is able to stimulate the body's power of self-healing. Use a pinch at a time on charcoal. I just thought this incense recipe really makes sense in the situation that we are in today. So, if you have an access to these ingredients, you might want to try out this recipe for yourself. And just in case you do, just come back to the comment section and let me know what was your experience regarding the same. So that was our chapter on the Greek incense. Let me know how you liked it, and if you would want me to read more of the paragraphs from this chapter, because the chapter is quite long and it would make the reading quite lengthy for one episode. So I just read a few paragraphs from here and there. Let me know if you want me to read more. Then we have other areas also which have been covered in this book. So we have Northern Europe, Mesopotamia, Egypt, Crete, Arabia, Israel, America, India, the Himalayas, and Japan. So let me know which section you want me to read next. I hope this has helped you learn something about the Greek incense and you enjoyed it. At least I enjoyed knowing about the reading, reading about the Greek incense, and it's interesting to know how the incense has come a long way from then to now. And if you want me to read anything else from any particular blog or any book or anything, just let me know. I'll be happy to read that out for you here. And if you're here for the first time, you might want to check out the playlist where I've done reviews of incenses, and there are other readings also, and there are many more other stuff like tutorials in the channel, so you might want to check those out. And hope you enjoyed the reading, and that's all for now. That's all for today, and till we meet again next, take very good care of yourself. Namaste.